Yeah, I'm excited about it. And I think for people listening or watching, especially if you're trying to break into HR, not just if you're an HR VP or you're an HR leader, but especially for the folks, because I get a lot of people that message me asking, hey, I'm looking to do a pivot into HR. So I think this episode itself is going to be major for a lot of those folks.
Yeah.
And at the end of this, I'll also be able to provide, if NAS allows me to, some contact information. So if you do want to connect with somebody that really knows how to navigate through a lot of this, NAS is going to be your person. All right.
Absolutely.
Like I said, we're going to start with the pregame.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your early career.
Yeah.
This is an interesting question because everybody does it a different way. I've met maybe one person that went to school for HR, but I'm
Okay.
curious for you, what got you into HR?
Yeah.
How? What happened?
Yeah. So I was not thinking about HR. I was not even in the mindset. So I kind of fell into it. I was doing something completely different. And I was in school and I decided that I wanted to become more involved in, the traditional office kind of environment. And so I took on a temp job as a receptionist. And it just so happened to be in a boutique search firm. And I took on that role. Oh, I was that young, spunky, girl on the front that greets you. Hi, how's your day? How's it going? All of that, right? Always with a smile on my face. And I had a bunch of recruiters in the office and the CEO as well. And I was her, admin as well. So fast forward a little bit, we had an office manager. We didn't really have a traditional like HR person in the office managing the day to day because it was a house full of recruiters and they were really self sufficient. They did a lot of their own HR kind of stuff, but the payroll and all the benefits and all that stuff that you think about, right? In that traditional HR kind of way. And she actually decided to leave the company and I just said, hey, this is my opportunity. And I stepped right in. I took on the role that she was playing and I kind of took it a little bit further. I developed some really good relationships with the recruiters and I really asked them a bunch of questions like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? What are you doing with that? Why is this happening? And then really just realized just how much of an impact HR really has.
Uh-huh.
Right. And that got me excited and jazzed. But I also realized that I didn't want to be a recruiter. That's not for me. And I had my colleagues were like, oh, do this back in the day of cold calling and all of that. And so I was doing some of that and they were really teaching me and coaching me on some of the stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's great. But I want to be like the internal HR person. I want to talk about retention. I want to talk about culture. I want to talk about engagement. I want to talk about navigating business challenges and problems, right? That kind of stuff. And so I realized quickly that that's what I wanted to do. Although I think it's great and I love my recruiter colleagues that are able to really get in there and, do that salesy pitch of, hey, this is our organization. We're doing this and we're shifting and we're doing that. I think that's great. But it wasn't for me. And I was able to see that really early on. And so that's how I jumped into HR.
Let me reinforce what you said.
Yeah.
You were a receptionist and you were observing a lot of people in the different roles and the recruiters, and nobody came to you and said, hey, Nas, are you interested in a new career in HR? You took a role that you could have just stayed at the desk and you could have kept the CEO happy, but you took the bull by the horns
Yep.
and said, I'm going to turn this into something, correct?
That's right.
And I bring that up because every single person that has asked me, and I'm pretty sure for you as well, Naz, how do I get into HR? I'm actually mentoring somebody now and they're at a generalist role and they're like, I want to be an HR business partner. Help me.
Yeah.
And I spent probably 20 minutes of the mentoring session telling him, uh, nobody's going to hand you this.
Yep.
So you need to go and be the master of your world
Take the
and show
initiative.
value. And to you, nobody handed you a, hey, would you like to be an HR generalist and
Mm-mm.
get in there? You
I was a
saw an opportunity.
receptionist. I did not even realize that sitting in that job that I was already building these skills. Didn't know it until I said, I could do it. I want to do it. and I'm going to show that I can do it. Right. So, yeah, absolutely.